Hey everybody, this is Kevin, and I have another Pokemon Wi-Fi battle here with another one of my friends. This time it's with my buddy Richard. He is a friend of a friend that I met on a Discord that we both like to hang out on. Super cool Discord with a bunch of good people. Anyways, we decided to have this battle in preparation for the Pokemon Sword and Shield Isle of Armor expansion, which releases tomorrow at the time of this voiceover. Um, So we decided to challenge each other to a battle. We're doing VGC format, which is tournament format, double battles, select 4 Pokemon, and it's 2 out of 3. So I didn't have a chance to do a live voiceover while I was having this battle, which is probably a good thing because I was on the edge of my seat. But you can see here, I'm going through team selection. I have a Trick Room team that also has a Dragapult and a Darmanitan, which are pretty fast. That way, just in case I have to pivot, I don't think Trick Room's gonna go well, I can use that. You probably saw that I didn't even pick my Trick Room setup. I haven't played in a long time, and this was the first time that I used this team. We decided to take a week and a half to set up our team, but it took me all of that time to get everything ready, and I never even practiced. So this is the first time I'm using it. So I decided, probably a silly decision, to start with Darmanitan and Copperajah. Copperajah is running a Life Orb. You can see I go for the Brick Break because I assume Grimmsnarl is going to try to set up screens. And Darmanitan, I believe I picked U-turn so that I can pivot out into something else. There's a lot of me going back and forth trying to pick moves here in this this match. There's even one part where I completely forget how to enter my commands and just almost run out of time. But so I pivot out, and then I'm looking here and I realize, oh no, I forgot to bring my Trick Room setup. So after I realized that, I'm kind of flipping between my Pokemon, and I decided to go for Golisopod. I figured the water typing would give me something to use against Excadrill, and his bug typing would be good against the Grimmsnarl. So I break his Reflect. That's why I have Brick Break on here. I want to deal with screens. I didn't exactly know what to go with on Copperajah. I do need to change his set. But I do have the Play Rough and the Iron Head and the Rock Slide, which benefit from Sheer Force and Life Orb. However, as you can see, because Brick Break doesn't have the added effect, it isn't affected by Sheer Force, I actually did take the damage from the Life Orb. Alright, he goes for another Reflect. He's onto my shenanigans. He uses a high horsepower against me. I thought I could live that, actually, because Copperajah is pretty bulky, but he goes down in a single hit. And this is where I'm kicking myself, because I didn't have my Trick Room set up. So he reveals the weakness policy. I wasn't able to one-shot him with the Liquidate. So now I decide I'm gonna go into, well, I'm thinking, but I go into Darmanitan. Now, Golisopod, the wheezing that I have on this team has neutralizing gas, which means I can actually use Golisopod. He won't use his emergency exit if he gets below half health. So I go ahead here, and I'm just trying to knock out both of them. So he gets both of his screens set up. I don't have Copperage anymore to break those, so I have to deal with that for the rest of the... for at least 5 turns. I get the knockout on the Excadrill, which made me happy, because Excadrill's a pretty good Pokemon. And then I get a Leech Life. I get just a little bit life back. I figured I would get the knockout, so I would just try to get whatever recovery I could. So now I'm down 1, he's down 2. Right now I feel pretty good. Then I see Corsola. Then I stop feeling good. And you're going to see his Corsola does a lot of work in this set. Alright, so he comes out with Dragapult, which if you remember in my last battle with my buddy Andre, Dragapult wrecked me. So I'm kind of cautious right now. I don't know if this is a physical or a special attacker Dragapult. So I'm looking. I'm assuming I should bring in Weezing, because this is a defensive Weezing. And he has the neutralizing gas, so if Golisopod does take damage, he's not going to get thrown out. He goes ahead and Dynamaxes. This is also something that causes great discomfort to me. So now I have twice the discomfort. It's super effective. Alright, so he goes for the Max Steel Spike. Weezing takes it. However, Weezing is not going to be able to take another one of those. So I go for the Bulk Up because I know he's not going to get thrown out through the emergency exit. I'm trying to be risky here. I didn't really... I never used this set before, but the idea of having a Golisopod that can set up without being kicked out of the match, or off the field because of emergency exit, kind of appealing to me. This is something I'm messing around with. You see, ultimately, this set doesn't work in this match. He burns the Weezing, which means my Black Sludge recovery is pretty much nullified. Things are not looking good for me right now. I don't have anything on this Golisopod that's super effective. So I figure the only way I'm gonna do anything is maybe try a Liquidate, get some rain set up through my Dynamax, and then use my water moves to knock out something. His Max Steel Spike is giving his team a defense boost every time he uses it. So now he has 2 defense boosts against my Golisopod, which has +1 attack. So right now, even when I get the rain set up, this Golisopod's not going to do much damage. I also don't have my neutralizing gas anymore, but because I don't have any Pokemon to switch out to, I don't have to worry about Golisopod getting removed from the field through his ability. So I get the rain. He uses Stealth Rock, which I thought was odd. You'll see that it does a little damage to Darmanitan, but I don't think it's enough to make a difference. So it takes 25% of his health. That's, you know, nothing to sneeze at, but it's also not super concerning considering what he has on the field. Because Darmanitan's not exactly a bulky Pokemon. At least not the way I have this one spec'd out. Alright, so I'm hoping I can get the one-hit KO through the Icicle Crash. and I don't. Because he has that +2 defense. So he one-shots the Darmanitan, and now he has +3 defense on both of his Pokemon. Things are not looking very good for me. Yeah, I use Drill Run because I want to see what it's going to do. Doesn't really do anything. I get the special defense boost, and then he uses Strength Sap. So this Golisopod is just slowly being rendered useless. I kind of wanted, things looked very, very bad for me right now. I wanted to forfeit and just move on to the next match, but I figured maybe he'll reveal more of his moveset. I'm just gonna do what I do, end it, let him win. I'm gonna go down swinging, but I know it's pretty hopeless. But in that, he did exactly what I thought he would do. He revealed the Phantom Force. So now I have a good idea what his complete moveset is. Well, at least a more complete picture. He hasn't revealed everything yet. I'm about to take the Phantom Force, and this time I know I'm not going to knock anything out. I'm just doing damage for the sake of doing damage to see how much damage I get off and what happens. That Corsola is super bulky, and now he reveals the Nightshade. So now I know his Corsola's complete moveset. Get the special defense boost, but that doesn't really matter. I've revealed my item to him now. What I was going for, I was trying to get this Golisopod to be extremely bulky so that he could take both physical and special attacks. And with the Weezing next to him, he wouldn't get the emergency exit that throws him out of the match. That was the idea I was going for, but I didn't have a chance to test this beforehand, so it didn't quite work out the way I expected. But this is a best of 3. That was the first match. It went to him. He did a great battle, but we got more to come. So we're using the same team. This time I decided to switch things up again. I'm not going to make the same mistake that I did last time, so I remember if I don't bring my Hatterene, I'm not going to be able to get my Trick Room set up. His Corsola is very slow. It would benefit from Trick Room, but I'm going to start with just the Trick Room setup. So I want Caparaja, and I want Hatterene, and I want up front. That way I can go ahead and set it up. And then I have Weezing in the back, because I do think Weezing has some value, especially since she's showing Darmanitan. I'm sorry, not Darmanitan, since he's showing Dragapult. Dragapult has nothing that's going to one-shot Weezing, even with the super effective Steel move, or he's not going to take him out. So then I rethink everything. I decide I want to pivot. So I'm going to start with Darmanitan because it's faster than everything. It does have Gorilla attacks with the Choice Scarf. I'm going to use him as a U-turn pivot, set up Trick Room immediately, and then on the second turn, have my slow Pokemon out there so that I can start going first. Alright, Beast Ball Corsola and then Excadrill. So we're familiar with both of these. We did see these in the last match. He did not see my Hatterene, so I don't know if he knew what to expect. He probably did expect Trick Room, but we didn't communicate what we were we didn't communicate prior to the battle what we were planning on using, or any of the Pokemon or movesets or tactics we were thinking about. We just kind of met and battled. So instead of pivot, I remembered that I had Hammer Arm. So I did that because I thought I could get the one-hit KO, and I would also reduce my speed. Reducing my speed, I was hoping, would make him a viable Trick Room user. He didn't count on the Magic Bounce, so I basically stole his Stealth Rocks. You don't see Stealth Rocks very often in VGC because there isn't much switching as there are in single battles, so I was kind of surprised to see Stealth Rock, but it does a little chip damage every time a Pokemon comes out, and it's good for breaking Focus Sashes, so that's, it has its use. So he sends out Rotom, which I didn't see last match. I didn't know what to expect. I was just expecting a very standard Rotom set. So I've already got my Trick Room here. I decided to go for Dazzling Gleam. I had Life Dew on this Hatterene because I figured, why not? I've never used it before, and I couldn't really think of a fourth move. So I go for the Hammer Arm one more time on Rotom. I know I don't have anything that's super effective on him, and I don't want to switch out. I want to just keep that momentum going from the first round, or I'm sorry, the first turn, and just get whatever damage I can get. Strength Sap, though, is a problem for me. So he has that super effective Shadow Ball. It did more damage than I'd like. And I get the Hammer Arm. Even with the Strength Sap, it did really good damage. So he goes ahead and he eats his berry, recovers some of his HP. And I'm within a range where I think I can probably knock him out. So this turn, I'm thinking Life Dew. I figure he's going to target Hatterene one more time. Get some life back. I don't think he can knock it out. Get some life back. Extend Hatterene's time on the field. So I get a little HP back. There goes the Strength Sap. I'm still not slow enough to go first with my Darmanitan. So here I believe I go for Dazzling Gleam, I believe, just to get some damage across the two. And then because of the -2 on the Darmanitan, I think this is where I switch out to Weezing. I believe. Yeah. Because if he was going to Strength Sap one more time, I figured send out the Weezing. Dazzling Gleam took out the Rotom, which was nice. And then I see the Nightshade. So I know that's always going to be 50 damage, so I can count on what the Corsola is going to be able to do to me for the as long as these two are out, because he can't Strength Sap me. Alright, Dragapult comes out. I remember from the last match that it had Phantom Force, which suggested it was a physical Dragapult. So I figured I'll try to get some... yeah, I went for the Dazzling Gleam, because I know I'm faster. And then Will-O-Wisp the Dragapult. Just try to make him as the least effective as it can be. So he goes ahead and opens up with the Dynamax. That's okay, I still have Trick Room. I can still do my Trick Room shenanigans. I can still go first. I don't think I'm going to be able to knock him out, but Dazzling Gleam does pretty good damage against both of Pokemon, even though that course looks really, really bulky. And then I get the Will-O-Wisp. So now his attack is cut in half. He gets the knockout on the Hatterene. So I can't reapply my Trick Room, which means I need to come out swinging with something. I think I go, because I still had, I think I went for Caparaja. Yeah, right now I'm kind of deciding which one to go with, because if he does a Strength Sap, it's gonna affect either one of those. So I go for Caparaja. I think this is my last move, my last turn of Trick Room. So I think I go for the Rock Slide to try to get some flinches. Yeah, I went Iron Head onto the Corsola. For some reason I thought Galarian Corsola was Ghost Rock, because the normal Corsola is Water Rock, so I couldn't remember if it was pure Ghost or if it was. So I think I went back and forth trying to figure out what it was. I think I was mistaken. That's why I selected the move that I selected. So he starts with the Steel Spike, which he's trying to get defense, and with that Caparaja, Caparaja is pretty much not going to do much, and neither is Darmanitan when he comes out if they have enough defense boosts. So Corsola gets all of its health back based on that Strength Sap, and I am down on my attack. And I did not use much at all. Because of Wheezing, I no longer benefit from Sheer Force, so that means I take damage from the Life Orb. So now I'm sitting here thinking, oh no, Caparaja is about to be useless. I need to figure something out. I can't use Max Knuckle to try to regain attack. So instead, I believe I go for the Max Starfall. I know I'm going to get the knockout on the Dragapult if I do that. And it'll boost my Fairy type attacks, which I have 2 of right now. One on the Caparaja and one on the Wheezing. And I think I went for the Will-O-Wisp on the Corsola to try to get that chip damage. Because I was planning on just a long game. If he kept doing Strength Sap, I needed to get consistent damage every single turn. So he does a Steel Spike. I no longer have Trick Room. Steel Spike gets the knockout, and he also gets the defense boost. However, I have a Darmanitan who's fresh. If I can get this knockout on the Dragapult, I'll be in a good spot. So he reduces my attack again, and he recovers his HP. However, I do get the knockout, and I do have the terrain up, so now he can't burn me, and my play rough is stronger. It's the only thing keeping Caparaja viable at all right now, and even that's questionable. So here's Darmanitan. He comes out. I know that I only have one turn to get an Icicle Crash before he just starts strength sapping me and gets me into a bad position. I decided to go for the Steel Spike because I get the stab. I also get Sheer Force plus Life Orb because Weezing's no longer on the field. This, as you see, does no damage. I'm protected from the burn because of the terrain. I don't think he anticipated that. And I get a critical hit. So I do think eventually I would have whittled down that Corsola, but with its Strength Sap, it could have potentially stalled me and whittled me down to the point of losing. So we're now 1-1. The winner of this next one wins the set. At this point, I kind of just stepped away from my computer to catch my breath because I was on the edge of my seat for that one. So I came back and I collected myself. And I know I got to do something different. He probably expects me to come out with Trick Room to try to control the match. I decided to do something a little bit different. I think this is the match where I completely forget how to use commands and almost run out of time, but so I'm kind of wondering. I know I got to do something different. I'm thinking about what I can do different. Also, please don't laugh at me for having Wise Glasses on Dragapult. He hasn't seen my Dragapult yet. So the reason I have Dragapult on this team is because it's fast, and if I need to opt to not have Trick Room, I need something that's going to be speedy. So we'll leave, yeah, I start with Dragapult and Darmanitan, and then I have Hatterene and Weezing in the back. I choose Hatterene and Weezing, that way Corsola Burn and Strength Sap doesn't do anything, so they can use special attacks instead of physical attacks to try to get the win. So I come out with my super speedy Pokemon, my heavy hitters, and I'm hoping I can just come out swinging and try to take control of the match on the first turn. So he leads with Grimmsnarl and Excadrill. He's thinking, at least I think he's thinking, I'm going to try to own this match by setting up my screens. He doesn't know that this is a special Dragapult, so that special Dragapult that Andre had in a previous battle kind of wrecked me, so I figured, you know what, I'm gonna breed one of those, because most of the Dragapults you see are physical. And it has excellent coverage. That I was really impressed by his set and his usage of Dragapult that match, so I kind of got one of my own. So come out swinging, start with the Icicle Crash. It got a one-shot. I expected him to use a Reflect or a Light Screen, but he didn't. He was probably going to go for Spirit Break or something, trying to one-shot the Dragapult. I thought the Flamethrower would get the one-hit KO. Instead, I trigger his Weakness Policy. He gets the Rock Slide. That's enough to take out Darmanitan. So we're 1 for 1 now. We're both down 1 Pokemon. Alright. I don't know what he's going to come out with. And I'm debating, do I reveal the Hatterene? And that way he knows to expect Trick Room, or do I reveal the Weezing to maybe take some hits and then be prepared for the Trick Room later? He brings out Dragapult. Alright, so I'm thinking, should I use my... This is where I forget how to use... So I had an idea in my brain of exactly what I was going to do, but I My fingers just, I don't know why. So I knew, I think my Dragapult was faster. I was pretty sure it was. I was going to use the Max Wormwind on his Dragapult, get the one-hit KO, and then I was going to Will-O-Wisp at the same time, just in case it didn't get the one-hit KO. I would, the idea was just neuter his Dragapult so that Hatterene could set up and take control. Alright, so we both go for the Dynamax. And this Will-O-Wisp, the Will-O, even if his was faster, I thought this Will-O-Wisp will determine who wins the match. Because if I can neuter Dragapult, I'm in a good spot. Max Wormwind, and even if I... So the plan was, if I wasn't faster, I would burn it. It would kind of be hindered greatly. In this case, I doubled up on it so that if I was faster and I got the knockout, I would end up burning the Excadrill. However, Excadrill one-shot Weezing, because that weakness policy makes Excadrill just a monster. Alright, so he has Mold Breaker back again. It's time for Hatterene. I know I'm faster. And we have the Rotom. Come out. Alright. I'm actually feeling really good right now. I know that Max Flare is going to take out Excadrill because I am faster. And then I remember that the Dazzling Gleam did pretty good damage on the in the first match, or the second match when I had Rotom when we were battling. So knock him out. Also, the Sunlight, if he has any water type attacks, it's going to reduce those. So I'm feeling really, really good right now. Actually, when I did that burn play, I sent him a message saying, you know, this is going to determine, however this turn plays out is going to determine the winner of this match. So I do really great damage against him. He gets his health back with a Citrus Berry. I can just double up. I think I went for the... Yeah, I went for the Max Phantasm just because I thought it would be good. And then the Psychic, because... Did I do Psychic? Oh, no, yeah, I did Life Dew because I had this terrible, terrible fear that if I missed, he would be able to come back if I didn't have some sort of recovery. And that's what happened. So I take the last one. This was a really great set. We're looking forward to battling again, but I hope you enjoyed that, and that's it from me.